So we have Tory Key. You are the founder and proprietor, I guess, of a company called Pitch Invaders, which is a fantastic name, and the logo is even better, I think. It just kind of caught my eye, and you and I started chatting, and I thought it'd be great for you to come on and talk about what inspired you to start the company, and then we can go from there. But yeah, so give us kind of the background of how you came up with Pitch Invaders and what you sell and all that good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And first off, thanks for having me, Scott. Definitely appreciate the opportunity to be on your network. So, I guess to kind of give you a little background on myself. So, grew up in Charlottesville, Virginia, and then ended up going to James Madison University, and really had always been focused on sports. And my mom always would kind of make sure that hey, if you want to play sports, you got to do well in school, and you got to do XYZ right, and so on. I just love playing sports. So it's funny because I never grew up playing soccer. I would just kind of play pickup occasionally with some of my friends that played on travel teams and so on, but never played organized at all. But kind of really fell in love with the sport through playing the FIFA video games. So I know you and I had joked about this before, but
Yeah.
I ended up choosing a team in 2009 that was in the championship, which happened to be Newcastle, and got them promoted, and then just decided, hey, I'm going to be a Newcastle fan now, and I've been a fan ever since. So really, I just followed the sport ever since that point, and really just loved it, but just never played at an organized level.
Mhm.
And when I went to James Madison, I ended up studying sports management and business. So really wanted to understand, the business of sports, what kind of, routes you can take, of course. They really had us, really take a deep dive into all these different careers you could kind of go into. So after I graduated, I actually didn't go right into the sports world. I actually got into more of the software sales side of things. And then, kind of one thing led me to another through connections, ended up working for a sports betting company. And so, they kind of finally got me into the sports business world per se. And, unfortunately, this past year, earlier in the year, I had a close family relative pass away. And kind of just sped up my process because I always wanted to like have my own company tied to sports somehow, some way. And, I'd been thinking about, how can I get more involved with soccer? I want the sport to continue to grow and expand in the U.S. I think there's a lot of potential just by the sheer amount of athletes we have that are, clearly excelling across all sports. So I want to be able to, make my impact somehow, some way. So I want to, come up with something that could be impactful right away, of course. So I thought of, why not create a clothing brand, but also have it focus on building up these local organizations in these different communities. So recently partnered with Arlington Soccer Association,
Mhm.
with City, Hartford, up in Hartford, Connecticut. So really looking to partner with a lot of these local organizations and really build a sense of community. We don't want to just be a clothing brand by any means. We want to have a sense of a tribal mentality. We're Pitch Invaders, we're all in this together, and we want to expand the sport in the U.S. and grow it. And ultimately, I think that's really where our lane's going to be starting out. But I certainly see us growing in many different facets, kind of moving
Mhm.
forward.
So talk about those partnerships. Those are youth soccer clubs, and there is. I know Arlington. I don't know about the other one. They have like a semi-pro kind of aspect to them as well. Like, what is your partnership? What are you focused on? And what are you getting? What are you getting out of it? What are they getting out of it? Kind of thing.
Yeah, certainly. So, first thing with any of the partnerships I'm creating with the local community organizations, I always want them to be able to get a portion of the revenue that's somehow tied to them pushing a customer to the website, right? So, they're each of them right now have their own special code, and also for Active City Hartford, they actually have their own collection. So we got
Oh,
together and created our own collection of Active City slash Pitch Invaders gear on the website. So they're getting a portion of the proceeds of any purchases from the Active City collection. But then for Arlington Soccer, they'll have their own discount code. So all the Arlington families or anybody that knows Arlington Soccer can use that code, and then anybody who uses that, they're also going to be donating to Arlington Soccer. So That's a huge part of what I want to do is give back to these local communities, but also when it comes to Arlington soccer specifically, we want to do things like sponsor a player of the month. So
Mhm.
once we decide who that player is, they'll be able to go on the website and select any item of choice. So if they want a hoodie, they want some joggers or whatever, they earned it. And so we're trying to think of cool different ways to get involved and engaged and put the brand out there. Of course, that's obviously a part of it, but also want to make sure that it's collaborative. It's not just me being a sponsor and that's it. We want to be much more hands-on and then help these organizations grow.
Cool. I mean, that's a great idea. Yeah, and so talk about some of the stuff that you've created and what the response has been.
Yeah. So I'm actually wearing one of our hoodies right now. So this is the classic world class hoodie that we're offering. So logos on the front here, and then there's a logo on the back. So we have a couple different versions of this. So there's this one, and then there's also the one with the slogan on the back. So our slogan is "The pitch for the people." So we like to, have pretty much a version that has, the logo on the back, and then one that also has the slogan on the back. So,
Hmm.
you can pick your choice. And then, like I mentioned with Active City, we have some, combinations of our logos and, the slogan as well. So, hoodies, T-shirts. We just actually released a bomber jacket yesterday. So that's already getting some great reception. People saying, "Oh, like this is a nice drop." Or whatever. So, really just want to be able to have a lot of different items to be able to cater to, what people may like. So, that could be shorts, joggers. Maybe eventually we go into the cleats world. But yeah, right now we're more focused on, casual gear and then some performance wear.
Gotcha. What's been your most popular item so far?
Yeah, so the joggers and the hoodies are definitely the most popular. And then that would probably be followed by the pitch for the people t-shirts.
Yeah, yeah, those are
Yeah.
cool. And then there's one that says "You just got nutmeg" too, which I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's actually kind of paying homage to my Sunday League group. So we typically play in Volo and DC Frey, and our group is called Nutmeg Nation. So I was like, hey, doing this one for you guys.
Right, right. Um, yeah, so where do you see it going, and you're trying to create more partnerships with youth clubs and other clubs, I guess, in general?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's always going to be a main goal is partnering with as many local organizations as possible and helping them grow. So being able to push the discount code that's tied to them and then help them get revenue and, of course, do different things to help them grow. But then also, as you mentioned, potentially working with other clubs, whether that's at the USL level, MLS or whoever that may be.
Mhm.
I'm pretty much open. We're young as a
Yeah,
startup, so yeah, we're really open to what opportunities are out there.
cool. And you're trying to go nationwide. I mean, it's not just you're in the DC area right now, but you're able to go wherever at this point.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. Our first partnership was up in Connecticut. I knew a guy up there. He's a friend of mine, but
Mhm.
that came before Arlington actually. So yeah,
Okay,
there's no geographical limitations by any means.
gotcha. Um, yeah, so are you looking to maybe get involved with events as well so that you can be a presence at different events?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's it. Kind of goes along with, I guess, working with the local organizations, right? So being able to, maybe go to, a match or host some kind of event, where we're trying to, get the community out, and maybe we're wearing our T-shirts, and if we have collaborative gear, we're wearing that gear also, right? So being able to, kind of get back to the community, get everybody involved, and also make people aware that that's a community organization, right? Because I think a lot of people still, when it comes to the sport of soccer specifically, it's still very much niche to a section of different communities. So if we could just, really expand the awareness of the sport across, all these different regional areas, I think, you're going to get more and more, different athletes coming out because, we believe it's for the people, right? So
Yeah.
we want more and more kids coming out and making soccer their first sport of choice.
Yeah. talk about maybe, where your thoughts are behind expanding into different communities and, how you see that going and, what kind of is in your mind about how you're going to make that happen. Because I think it's an essential thing to grow soccer in this country.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So I would say honestly, with my background heavily being focused on business development from my other jobs, I think that certainly has helped me with how I approach going out and trying to create these partnerships. It's not just a simple, hey, I do this, we should partner. It's, hey, this is the value that I could potentially bring, and ultimately, make this a collaborative effort, right? Because you always want to make sure that if you're going to enter any of these partnerships, that it feels like a win-win from both sides. So I certainly want to take that approach. Whether it's me sometimes having to just shoot out hundreds of emails or do a few calls throughout the day. That's sometimes what you have to do. But as we expand, potentially we can have teams dedicated to that, right? So then it's not necessarily coming from one person. It's you have people dedicated to creating partnerships with the local community organizations and moving forward.
Right. Yeah, that's a great thing that, I hope that that's successful. I think it's hugely important.
Yeah.
Talk about how you came up with the name and then the logo, because I think it's great.
Yeah. So Pitch Invaders, I really just kind of sat down for a full day. Obviously I took time, did some other stuff, but I just kind of took a whole day to really think about, like what's something that is kind of unique, but it's also well known in soccer, and then also has a little bit of edge, but also has like a community vibe. And Pitch Invaders just kind of came to me because obviously it has like a negative connotation a lot of times because it's somebody running onto a pitch and stops play and so on. But from my perspective, it's hey, right now in the U.S., unfortunately, it's very much a pay to play sport. So I want this community to invade and all really step into the fact and slogan that the pitch is really for the people. So if I can help these community organizations get more and more kids, getting on the pitch, and we can create this invasion, that's really what I envision the name coming from. And then as far as the logo, so I am a Scorpio, and also I just think scorpions are just kind of a cool animal, just from a look standpoint, aesthetics wise. So I actually thought, well, if you had a bunch of scorpions, coming onto the pitch, that would be quite the impactful invasion, right? So
Yeah,
it's a little silly, but that's really how I came up with the two combined.
that's really cool. I thought you were going to say you just put it into Chat GPT or something, but
That's what a lot of people do now, right? Yeah.
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 How did you arrive on, your background isn't like clothing, how did you arrive at that? And yeah, where'd that come from?
Yeah. I think if you look at, a lot of these large brands out there, I don't know if they always thought they were going to turn into massive giants in the apparel space. Some of them, of course, had that intention, but I think also, no matter if you're a sports business or any other kind of industry, people love buying merch, right? People love having some T-shirt or whether it's joggers or whatever else, where they could rep a brand or a community that they feel like they're a part of. And so I thought to myself, I was like, well, I would love to wear this logo and have Pitch Invaders, as a soccer fan, not even just as a player, just as a fan of the sport, and feel like I have a community. We just started up a Discord server where people are going to be able to chat, send in hot takes or whatever it is. And so I think ultimately, when you're able to have these different elements that kind of create this tribal community, whether it's wearing T-shirts together, being on the same chat channel or whatever, that really just clicked for me. So I thought, I'm not the most stylish person by any means. I'm not a fashionista, but I felt like I could at least do the bare minimum to get people interested and feel that sense of community through apparel.
Right. So I'm kind of an old guy. Tell me what a Discord server is. I have no idea what that is.
Oh yeah. So it's actually it's huge in the gaming community.
Okay.
So a lot of people use it. So you have a server that you set up, and then it's really just chat rooms within
Mhm.
that server. So we have the Pitch Invaders Discord server, but then you have channels that are dedicated to leagues, so like EPL, MLS. There's a hot takes channel. There's pretty much anything you would need, right? And then also we could always add more if communities like, hey, we need a channel specifically for this. So yeah, it's really just like a chat room.
Gotcha. Everyone debating the who's better, Ronaldo or Messi, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But even Aston Villa got some love yesterday because they beat Man City. So
Yeah, that was fantastic. As an Arsenal fan, that's fantastic.
yeah.
Well, Arsenal has them this weekend, so I don't know how fantastic that's going to be. But yeah,
Yeah, they're hot right now. Yeah.
yeah. Talk about your Newcastle fandom. I mean, you start off in the championship, and you rode through the tough times, and now you guys are great. So, I mean,
Yeah.
at what point or at any point did you think about switching allegiances at to
Oh,
somebody else?
there were definitely some trying times, especially because, from a geographical standpoint, I had no ties to Newcastle, right? It was just a
Mhm.
random team I chose. So there were some trying moments, as you know, and Newcastle has had its ups
Mhm.
and downs.
Yeah.
But, I really just stuck with it. There's something about, I guess, and also it helps that I'm a DC sports fan, so I'm used to losing a lot. So it was just joining the club, right? So
Right. Right.
yeah, it's crazy that now we're looked at as, hey, we're probably making the Champions League potentially every year now. It's
Yep.
crazy to just see that jump so quickly. But I
Yeah.
was actually able to go over there last year actually for my 30th birthday. So I saw them beat Chelsea at home, and that was an amazing experience. So I
Nice.
can say I officially went to go see them now.
Yeah. So what was that experience like? Have you been to an MLS game? And then
Yeah.
so talk about the difference in just the culture and the fans and what that whole experience was like.
Yeah. I think the main difference, which I'm sure most people would agree with, is when you go overseas or you go to visit any of these clubs that really have a sense of community and tie to that local town or city or whatever it may be. Uh, there's just a different level of euphoria when you're screaming and yelling. It's your hometown basically, right? So I feel like in the U.S. I could be a DC sports fan, but I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia, and even then, there's still so much of people travel across. There's a lot of commuters. There's a lot of changing going on in these different towns. Where most of these cities now, it's not 90% people from there, right? There's a good mixture of people from all over. So the sense of community and, hey, we're not going to allow other fans to run this town, because as a DC sports fan, that happens to us sometimes.
Yeah.
That would never happen in Newcastle, right?
Yeah.
There were certain bars where there was no way you would get in if you were a Chelsea fan while I was there. Large signs out front. So those are the little differences, just because it's still their hometown, right? And
Right.
in the U.S. it's a little bit different, but the MLS has a great atmosphere too, though. DC, I definitely look forward to going to more. Definitely got to see Messi while he's in the MLS as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Did that inspire any like, okay, this is a kind of community that I would want to create with Pitch Invaders? Yeah, I mean, so where do you see that, a year from now, 5 years from now? How do you picture Pitch Invaders kind of panning out over time?
Yeah. I mean, eventually, if Pitch Invaders could be, on a club as far as a sponsor, or potentially even be a part of club ownership, where now we have just full on sections with Pitch Invaders gear on the flag, and it's
Mhm.
just like it's a huge community that's rowdy and ready to support their club no matter what. That'd be amazing, right?
Right.
So at that moment in Newcastle, was not thinking that way, of course, with Pitch Invaders, but I think that's a great point. That really ties into it. That's what we're going for. That true sense of community.
Right. Yeah, I think That'd be pretty cool. So I look forward to following that for sure. What am I missing? Am I missing leaving anything on the table here that I need to ask you about Pitch Invaders?
No,
How
I
do they
think
get your
you're.
stuff?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
How do they get your stuff?
So actually, pitchinvadersusa.com. So you'll see all the different collections we have. Bestsellers will be right there on the homepage. A lot of it's unisex as well. So we try to make it easy. All the T-shirts and hoodies and so on. So yeah, we really want people to be able to get access to what they care about right away, right? So if you go to the website, you should be able to get to joggers, hoodies, or whatever you're looking for pretty quickly, and then
Okay,
it gets shipped directly to your location.
cool. You have any holiday deals coming up for
Yeah, so
people?
we're actually going to have a Christmas deal or holiday season deal.
Mhm.
So that's something to definitely keep a lookout for. But
Okay,
yeah, we had a good Black Friday as well and Cyber Week.
nice. Okay, how long have you guys been open, so to speak,
Since
online?
early August. Yeah, we launched early August and definitely have been progressing over the months, just figuring out different marketing techniques and so on. And
Yeah.
really, from a grassroots standpoint, it's been amazing. Just being able to connect with friends and family that are really supportive. That's been amazing. And I
Mhm.
think people really understand the vision of what we're trying to accomplish. It's not just another clothing brand, right? We're really buying into this community idea.
Cool. Um, well, I wish you luck. I will definitely, I'm definitely ordering some stuff, and we'll wear it proudly. Um,
Yeah,
it's
definitely
super cool.
appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else? Did I miss
No,
anything?
no, I
Okay.
think you covered everything. Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
Yeah. Cool. Hold on one sec.